The Bleach manga ending in 5 more chapters? Are you fucking kidding me? There's just not enough time. There are so many loose ends and things that need to be explained. Over 10 plus characters have yet to show their powers. I want to see Shinji's Bankai. Royal Guard members that we need to see their Bankai, especially the guy, I forgot his fucking name. No Bankai from Iceland. We haven't seen Love's Bankai. Most of the visors haven't really released any Bankai. Kenpachi has a Bankai that ends up being Yachiru, which doesn't make any sense. Where's the explanation for that? Kubo, what the fuck are you doing? He wasted so much time and had too many characters that showed up. They were going to do something important, but they were never seen again. Most of these characters are not going to get developed. We're not going to see everything, and that's going to make this manga even more horrendous in my personal opinion. You know, I'm not just a fanboy. Bleach has its fucking problems. I do love Bleach. I love the anime, I love the soundtrack. I still appreciate it and still enjoyed reading and watching Bleach when the anime was on and now reading these chapters. I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit. I have been a fan of this show and manga for so many years, it just will fucking piss me off if I don't see about 95% of everybody's powers. Give us something, damn it. Something. Bleach is gonna end terrible. Kubo fucked up. I am just a disappointed Bleach fan. It was once great, went downhill, and now it may have a terrible ending. Such a shame.
So I just spoiled myself today with the ending chapter. I stopped following Bleach when the anime ended. However, it is still one of my favorite anime. In fact, it was the one which urged me to enter the fantastic world that is anime manga world. So I just can't stop myself from sharing you the utter anger, misery and disappointment I'm feeling right now. Really? Naruto's ending all over again. I honestly had hopes that they wouldn't destroy Bleach. This was the fatal blow. I won't comment on plot holes and I won't even care at this point if anyone accuses me of overlooking the importance of those holes. I just want to ask, why? Fucking why? Ichihime, even worse than Naruhina. No evolution, no emotion, no sense, nothing. Please tell me why there are people around that actually ship this. Please, there even a scene where Ichigo looked at Orihime like he thanked God every day to have met her, like he looked at Rukia. Can anyone give me solid proof from 1 or 2 chapters so that I can pin it down with arguments from all the previous ones? About Ren and Ruki, simply I see no reason. I love their relationship the pure way they needed each other. It was frankly beautiful and should have remained untouched. Not all childhood friends have to end up together. The Ichigyuki dynamics was there from day one. It's called soulmates. It was unique. Why would you go and destroy years of constructing and one-of-a-kind bond? In fact, I would have been satisfied with no pairings at all. This is shonen, right? Are there even true shonens around anymore? I feel so sad. This is Naruto ending once again. Still, why Bleach? Just why? Everyone who has the same opinion as me, don't abandon Ichiroki. No matter what, it is more canon than anything. And remember all the previous emotions Bleach filled us with all those years. And I have faith we will recover someday.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
So much more could have been done. I know Kubo didn't want it like this. Bleach at least had 10 more years of the storytelling. Kubo has been with Shonen Jump for a long time. You would think they'd give him and show him much more respect than this.
Bleachtards are so desperate they are making up bullshit reasons to defend their garbage, one of which is the lack of respect. There is no such thing in Shonen Jump, they just publish anything that sells enough, not anything they respect. I like how they say the show had at least 10 more years worth of material, and nothing about the terrible pacing and the endless plot holes which make most of the story a complete waste of time. Did you even consider the possibility of the manga not getting axed if Kubo wasn't fucking around? Not only his garbage wasn't selling anymore, most of the fandom was also making fun of it. The Bleachtards accuse even the fandom for the shitstorm and nothing about the obvious fact that they are making fun of it because it's garbage. Why would they be doing it if it was decent? It's not like the bar is high or anything. We are talking about a fandom which considers My Hero Academia to be amazing. They wouldn't make fun of something if it was anywhere close to mediocre. You talk about respect, how about tolerance? Kubo's garbage was tolerated for 15 years. You demand 10 more when the story would have ended many years ago if Kubo was giving a shit. Bleachtards are delusional. No matter how much garbage they are eating, they don't mind and want even more. Lack of respect, my ass. Shonen Jump had the patience of a saint tolerating the endless shitstorm every fucking week. If they were truly ruthless, they would have axed it when Aizen got defeated. But they didn't, and you have the nerve to call that lack of respect. You want to blame someone? Blame Kubo and his endless trolling.
Yes, there's chances he can do a data book, but I wouldn't want that. I want to see the rest of the Bankais.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
The Naruto fillers are officially going to continue for years, although the finale has been animated. Even the reasoning of stalling the final battle is no longer excusing the milking. The funny part is that Jump Shonen prefers years worth of meaningless filler over adopting the final arc of Bleach that the tards want to see so badly.
I need it!
But it's not like many care about what the hell they are watching, since as you can see the community is perfectly fine with watching Naruto fillers until the end of time. Who can blame Jump Shonen when the audience doesn't care and keeps buying this shit? The bar is so low that even Naruto fillers is better than Bleach canon. But it's not like Bleach is completely dead. As you see, there are brothels using its logo so they can attract all the otakus. Oh well, at least that is gonna be more consistent than the real thing.
I want to see some damn
Condoms?
God damn it.
Your wishes have been finally heard, Bleachtards. In the recent episode of Dragon Ball Super, there is a god of death who creates weapons out of himself, opens a portal to a different dimension from which evil creatures are popping out. There is a guy making weird poses, people constantly teleport behind their enemies, everybody can level up his level up, and the creator doesn't give a shit about the plot anymore. In other words, Dragon Ball has officially become the new Bleach.
Money! There was this porn star posing as Kubo. Why would you cosplay as a manga creator for your porn career? He kind of just said screw it and he closed down his Twitter. He went into hiding for a while after the whole porn scandal. But recently he came back. He actually reopened up his Twitter. Taisei Kubo's return to Twitter could be awesome. Who's to say that he doesn't have some great ideas? There's something big coming out of this. Maybe a project. Maybe he's going to be working on a new manga. Come back with the anime and working on a new spin-off manga. Maybe he's working on his next work. There's so many possibilities. I would love the Bleach anime to come back. I would love for them to have Kubo on board so he can actually add things that he initially wanted to have in the manga before he got canceled. There's so many possibilities of what they could do with the Bleach story, and I know I'll definitely enjoy it as long as it has the same type of quality, so to speak, that the Bleach anime had before it ended. Contents from volume 74 were pretty disappointing. It was 7 pages of basically a white page, and it says despair. All of us were again excited, and we heard a lot of different things, that there was supposed to be some extra contents. Personally, I was going into it thinking maybe it was going to have a different ending, maybe he was going to explain something to grasp on. We overhyped this. Kubo really didn't have anything else that he needed to offer us. There's a difference between what I would like, but ultimately what he's obligated to do. He gave us a story, it had a, iffy ending, and that was it. Slap in the face right there, because we wanted more answers. What the fuck happened towards the end of Bleach? We were left with a lot of questions. We were left with concerns of why it ended this way. Why was it rushed? What happened, Kubo? And ultimately what we get is despair. So in a sense, it almost feels as though it's trolled. Haha, you motherfuckers are feeling so salty right now, right? I'm running to the bank with all the money I made off Bleach. Can you really fault Kubo for that? For us kind of overhyping something that shouldn't have really been overhyped to begin with? Maybe I'm more so mad at myself for having high expectations of something that really wasn't amped up from anybody other than the fandom. Personally, I definitely think it was a waste of time. And hopefully Kubo comes back with something else.
I wanted to see some more damn Bankais, goddammit. You got that right!
Recently, the troll King Kubo revealed that the final chapter was exactly as he wanted Bleach to end, meaning that he was planning ahead and wasn't making up bullshit as he went along. Which means nothing, since the plot didn't make any sense to begin with, and no matter what he would have done to get to that ending, it would be terrible. And as if that wasn't enough, Kubo goes on saying that he had health problems after the Soul Society arc, which explains the drop in quality of his manga. This doesn't and shouldn't excuse the bullshit of Bleach. Togashi has health issues as well, but Hunter x Hunter was never that bad. Hideaki Anno had mental issues, but Neon Genesis came out amazing. Kubo is plain incompetent next to others with more problems than him. And there is more, as a dying child told Kubo how much it loved Bleach and how it was giving it life. Aside from the terrible taste that kid had, it doesn't excuse the non-existent quality of Bleach. Countless people enjoy garbage every day, which explains why Kimi no Na wa is number 1 on Mal. Entertaining trash is still trash and catastrophic in the long run. If you don't believe me, look at the USA elections. None of the emotionally manipulating bullshit of Kubo made him better in my eyes. He's a joke that shonen tards were worshipping as a god because he was treating them like retards for over a decade. I have news for you, Troll King. You're not the only one. There are more who are doing the same shit after you are gone.
No, I want to see it.
I really want to see.
I want to see the Cosmo Mammoth.
I really, really do.
No.
So much. There's so much out there.
I want to see the Cosmos Mammoth!
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit. I remember a time, man, where Bleach was like on the top charts. It was like one of the hottest anime properties and hottest manga. And it just went downhill, man, which is a shame. I really miss the Bleach anime.
I need it!
I am one of the few that still has Bleach on his mind.
I need it!
Bleach had a terrible ending, we all know that. Started out great and then it ended horrible. But you still can't shake the fact that I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit. Bleach itself was just damn Bankais. Everything was just fantastic. Ichigo, the Zanpakutos, the Soul Society, the captains, the Shikais, the Bankais. Goddammit, I'm watching the old episodes. It brings great nostalgia for damn Bankais. Even with its major flaws, Bleach was pretty Bankais. It might not have been very logical, straightforward, good story, but
I need it!
and you gotta look at it for what it is. Bankais. Bleach, in my opinion, wasn't quote-unquote smart. But
I need it!
even if you hated Bleach, you hated how it ended, you hated how it was so many characters and no development, this and that, you gotta admit the Bankais is pretty boss. You gotta admit that, man. Like, there's like no way nobody likes the Bankais. Awesome, you know? A lot of great themes. The Hollow Ichigo theme. I'm not even gonna name them off because you should just look it up for yourself.
I wanted to see some more damn Bankais, goddammit. You got that right!
Will the Bleach anime return? I hope it does one day. Maybe fix some problems, maybe retcon a couple things as far as the last arc. See some damn Bankais, goddammit. Bleach was cool. You know, I miss Bleach. I miss watching new episodes every week. I miss reading the manga. I miss hearing new soundtracks come up with new characters and new arcs start. I miss those days.
I need it!
There was an announcement for finally animate the final arc of Bleach, the arc that deserved to be animated, to finally have that conclusion that all Bleach fans deserve.
You like Bleach, this is the only thing you deserve.
It always did deserve another chance at an anime. Those that have never actually watched or even read Bleach to actually give it a shot.
It messed up, it doesn't deserve anything.
Because it's a piece of history, honestly. It's a piece of history for myself, and I don't think the anime industry would be the exact same without it.
So it's nothing more than a historical curiosity.
It really caused many to become a part of the anime community. It spurred on many to venture out and find other series like Bleach and eventually stretch out and expand to different genres. It's a very important series.
You want people to watch it so they will go find other shows to watch, instead of just finding other shows to watch.
Give it a shot. You might like it. It could be really good.
Not if you know what happens in the manga.
And if you've already watched the series, what's stopping you from rewatching it?
Or watching anything else that is better.
So if you've been sitting on the fence, wondering if you should watch Bleach, wondering if it's even worth watching, then now is a perfect time. The link is in the description, and any of you that purchase a copy from the link will also be helping me out as well.
Oh, that's the actual reason you're promoting it for.
The main point of this video, though, is to reminisce about Bleach.
No, it's about you shilling it for money.
Bleach is a series that has brought me great joy. It is something that I feel deserves a second chance.
And your money.
I might not have, been where I'm at today without Bleach, so I do owe Bleach quite a bit.
And as thanks, it will now owe you a lot of money.
I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live.
He loves you guys, give him your money.
If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like.
And if you're idiots, give him your money so you can buy trash.
It's crazy to think about just how much time has passed since then, and just how much has changed, but also hasn't changed.
And you're still a shameless money-sucking baby.
Burn the Witch, baby. This video is sponsored by Bleach Immortal Soul. Burn the Witch will be 4 chapters in length. Okay, here we go. Woo! Sponsored by Bleach Immortal Soul. Yeah, can't wait. Kubo's back. Kubo's back. 4 chapters. Ah, man, I really like this quality. Sponsored by Bleach. 4 chapters, man. Sponsored by Bleach. Disappointing that it's only 4 chapters. Burn the Witch, baby. This is gonna be hype. I'm not gonna lie. No, it's actually all going to be 4 chapters. Let's return to Soul Society and have some fun. One more time with Bankai, baby. But I'm gonna enjoy it for what it's worth.
Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Sponsored by Bleach.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
Bankai, baby. Bleach fans, time to rejoice. Kubo's response indicated the upcoming anime will follow the original, which is phenomenal. Fantastic. I am very, very excited about that. That means it's going to be a mess, and I can't wait. Like, the fact that they're putting this much time into follow the original, Bleach is probably going to look amazing.
It's popular, so therefore it is good.
I'm imagining they're probably trying their best to hold off until potentially the global pandemic is officially over, because, you know, con season pushes tremendous amounts of merch and stuff like that, so they probably ideally want to get it out once everything is back to normal.
The guy just sees dollar signs.
Yeah.
Dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs.
This Bleachtards is what every fanboy of this train wreck says, as well as why people end up making fun of anime and their communities. So let's go over it for pointing out why we can never have good things, because most people settle for garbage and therefore the industry has no reason to try harder. The opening statement is fairly typical dick riding stuff that makes it sound like there is absolutely nothing better than Bleach in the whole universe!
You know, I'm not just a fanboy. Bleach has its fucking problems. I do love Bleach. I love the anime, I love the soundtrack.
Here is something everybody was saying back in the era of the big three. The main character is more mature than other protagonists because he doesn't have a goal in life. Unlike Naruto and Luffy, he doesn't have an unrealistic objective, such as wanting to be the best in the world. He's an average, normal teenager who doesn't know what he wants from his life, and his experiences gradually give him a goal, as well as character development. It sounds like a great thing, but then the writing went to shit and ended up being cool ideas with terrible execution. Not having a goal ends up being the same as being completely passive. He's not doing anything on his own, he's reacting to what the bad guys are doing. While Naruto and Luffy are constantly trying to be the best in the world, his goal is just waiting for a wife to be kidnapped so he can save her. And how exactly is Ichigo an average, normal teenager and thus very relatable when he ends up being half of every race in the galaxy? And if he doesn't want to be the best like any other protagonist, then why is the most famous music piece of the whole show talking about becoming number one? Holy shit, the hypocrisy!
It just will fucking piss me off if I don't see about 95% of everybody's powers. Give us something, damn it! Something!
Ah, the power-up dick riding, which is supposed to be psychological and not just bigger swords and different hair colors. Although there is an actual psychological explanation behind most of the power-ups, in practice they truly come off as nothing more than bigger swords and transformations. There are so many of them, they are presented in a cool way while number one is playing in the background, and thus whatever psychological explanation they have is lost under the rule of cool. Nobody gives a shit about what someone thinks for unlocking his bankai, they just wanna see some damn bankais, goddammit, that fill the screen with laser attacks that steamroll the enemy. So again, nothing but cool ideas and terrible execution.
Explainium, the shorthand for whichever mechanism a work of fiction deploys to skip past explaining either something impossible or a mistake in order to get back to the plot, because that's the more interesting part of the story.
The power-ups are not being asspools because they were planned by Aizen and everything was foreshadowed. Therefore, they cannot be asspools. Yes, they can, when foreshadowing comes down to Aizen being used as a vague explanation for why everything is part of his plan, while at the same time never actually explaining his plan.
Ah, yeah. Well, whenever you notice something like that, a wizard did it.
Combined with how Ichigo is passive the whole time because he doesn't do anything on his own, you end up having Aizen as a mastermind that controls everything from the shadows, not because he's actually that smart, but because his power is mind control that strips people of free will and makes them robots instead of actually tricking them with mind games into doing his bidding. Essentially, he's a lazily written plot device controlling other lazily written plot devices.
When your story isn't original or not very good, or your mistake actually was a mistake, and so instead of skipping ahead, you just try to bury it in convoluted, made-up sci-fi bullshit that sounds interesting, or even more convoluted mythos and lore connectivity that panders to fanboys by making them feel rewarded for recognizing all the references.
The power system is the most complex of them all because it has psychological and scientific explanations for everything, and every battle is very strategic and thought-provoking. It's on par with Nen, and people make fun of it because they are not smart enough to get it. Actually, it's because they are a pile of bullshit made up for covering up the fact that there is nothing interesting in the plot and everyone is just watching it for the bankais.
There are so many loose ends and things that need to be explained. Over 10 plus characters have yet to show their powers. I want to see Shinji's Bankai. Royal Guard members that we need to see their Bankai, especially the guy, I forgot his fucking name. No Bankai from Aizen. We haven't seen Love's Bankai. Most of the visors haven't really released any Bankai.
Bleach is a masterpiece that people hate for no reason, and Soul Society is not the pick of the series. Bleach is the best anime of all times, and it's all Shonen Jump's fault for rushing it to conclusion. Yes, it wasn't the diminishing sales, or Kubo repeating the same bullshit over and over again without caring. It was all Shonen Jump's fault. When you don't want to admit your trash is trash, just blame everyone else. The Star Wars sequels were amazing, and the toxic fans were complaining were the only reason they come off as bad. Tokyo Ghoul is amazing, and it's all the studio's fault that the anime comes off as bad after the first season. And let's not forget that Isayama is the best writer of all times, and it's his editor's fault for ruining the perfect plot in the last chapters. It's always someone else's fault, and that is why Bleach is a masterpiece.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
Bro, I was hit with so much nostalgia.
I really miss the Bleach anime.
You're not even gonna tell me you did not just start jumping for joy when you saw that
Bankai.
It's opening the door up to a whole new
Bankai.
It's focusing literally on
Bankai.
That is easily one of the things I have always wanted to explore within the Bleach universe. I need it! When Bleach came to an end, when the final page turned, left me just wondering what really is going on.
It just went downhill.
But now, after all of these years, Kubo just comes in blasting, guns blazing, with a whole new
Bankai
that is going to be focusing on a concept that can easily shake the very foundations of what the meaning of Bleach is in the first place.
Bankai.
He has so many ideas, so many crazy ideas, so many cool things. He just slings them out. He just continuously slings out these cool ideas, and he has so many interesting things, but he's not given enough time to be able to properly explain everything. That's always been his major issue as a writer. He's not been able to dive into everything he just slings out. They're really cool in theory. Everything he does, he doesn't have time to explain all of it.
He wasted so much time and had too many characters that showed up. They were going to do something important, but they were never seen again. Most of these characters are not going to get developed. We're not going to see everything.
It's been years since I've read a new Bleach chapter.
Bleach had a terrible ending. We all know that.
Like I said, just the nostalgia alone hits me.
Still has Bleach on his mind.
It made me feel like I was super young again. Taite Kubo's finest work.
Bankai.
It was just something that I always enjoyed when I used to, watch his
Bankai.
I couldn't really stand waiting since there was just so much information circulating around the new
Bankai.
Let's actually talk about it.
Bankai.
Let's just get into the big bombshell that is
Bankai.
It's a really interesting way to give us, I guess, information on
Bankai.
I appreciate that greatly. It's so nice. It all ties in back together with so many different elements and themes.
Which doesn't make any sense.
If you remember, what really got people into Bleach was
Bankai.
I really appreciate everything Kubo did with
Bankai.
I'm so excited to see
Bankai.
I feel like that's what Kubo is definitely trying to set up here. I really hope that is the case because it has so much freaking potential if it does. It'd be so cool to see.
Bankai.
I'm happy to have Bleach back. It's such a great feeling to be able to sit down and read this. I need it! The time is ripe for Bleach because it really does fit in that corner of mature manga.
Wasn't quote unquote smart.
Let's be honest here, anyone that read Bleach, they're old now. They're in their 20s now. They're in 20s, maybe 30s now. People have grown since the end of Bleach. Yo! Yo! Everything about this, fantastic. I cannot wait for more.
Started out great and then it ended horrible.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have Bleach back. It's been far too long.
I wanted to see some more damn Bankais, goddammit. You got that right!
DB Zimran was one of the last remaining Bleachtards prior to the announcement of its return. He's a real fan of the show, since he kept making videos about it way after the hype was gone. He also exposed the fake fans who were on board while it was popular, then threw it under the bus as soon as it was no longer popular, and now that he's coming back are acting like they were always fans. On the other hand, he is delusional, like any other fanboy, since he has ridiculously long videos that make Bleach to seem like the most nuanced shonen in the history of forever. They work only on a conceptual level, meaning there is a lot of depth and symbolism and internal conflict for each and every one of the characters, but only on paper. When you actually watch Bleach, none of that matter, and you hardly think about them because the show doesn't focus on anything other than the mindless action. He keeps saying anyone who thinks Bleach became bad after Soul Society is wrong, because there is still a lot of depth to the show. Those people gave up on the anime and were spreading lies about it. Well, isn't that sweet? I am one of those people as well. I too keep spreading those so-called lies. I too say the show fell so hard because it became all about the Bankai and the stupid action. And I am not wrong, because Kubo focused on what the majority of fans want from a fighting shonen: the fighting. Were there internal conflicts and personal goals and a whole other bunch of stuff that on paper gave depth to the show? Yes. Did anyone give a shit about them? No, because they wanted to see more Bankai. And the thing is, it was not their fault for wanting that, since the show itself was hardly focusing on the psychological stuff and was instead solving every single problem with sudden power-ups and conveniently hidden special sword transformations. It's impossible to give a shit about the mystery or the internal conflicts of the show when every other episode you are getting a new Bankai that somehow was always there and it just happened to activate or be revealed or be exactly what the heroes needed for overcoming the situation they were in. There is nothing smart about having the solution to every problem before the problem even appears, and it just happens to be given to you. That is also what most people said about the downfall of Bleach, and they said it at a time when it was still ongoing, part of the big three, and one of the most popular anime in existence. Those fans are not lying. The liars are those who threw it under the bus as soon as they heard the manga got cancelled and the anime lost its popularity, and who all of a sudden are now hyped about its return. They are also not haters. No longer liking a show for becoming worse instead of defending it no matter how bad it became does not make you a hater. This is something a delusional fanboy would say, and Dippy Zimran happens to be one for not admitting there are obvious issues. You will hear him using Spider-Man and Batman all the time for defending the depth of Bleach characters, and it never crosses his mind that those comics and movies don't have huge arcs that take place away from the heroes' homes. Spider-Man and Batman can be going after the same villains for years, but always return home by the end of every day. We get to see their first world problems and sympathize with their internal struggles. It's what was happening in the early episodes of Bleach as well. That ended when Rukia and later on Orihime got kidnapped. There was no coming back home every night. It became a line of duels with transforming swords that lasted for several years in our time frame and had no downtime. Besides the terribly inserted filler arcs, that is. It was all about a mindless spectacle, not a nuanced characterization of the heroes. It's what DB Zimran doesn't want to admit and why he's no different than any other mindless fanboy out there. Hey, remember that Bleach fanboy who kept insisting that crappy shonen has a lot of depth and everyone who says it's dumb is plain wrong? He played several old Bleach video games, and guess which one he liked the most? It wasn't the RPG, which had dialogues, exploration and world building. He didn't even like the hack and slash one, which was just action but didn't have bankais. He liked the fighting one, which didn't have a plot, and it was just matches between characters who were using their bankais. I know you can easily defend that by saying it's the fault of the video games not being good if they are not mindless action, but it doesn't change the fact that both the company and the fans prefer a mindless action game with bankais over an RPG that has all the supposed depth and complexity DB Zimran describes in such a detail in his ridiculously long videos about one-note characters. And he's not the only one, as everyone who makes a topic about the return of Bleach gets very few replies, and most of them are just about being excited for more bankais. Because that is the truth about Bleach in 2022. Almost everyone who was a fan moved on, and the few remaining ones who are still anticipating its return just wanna see some damn bankais, goddammit. It's a fact, and the more they deny it, the more I will be making videos exposing them.
People complain that as a character Ichigo has no direction, but when a story arc comes along that serves to give him a clear sense of direction, they don't like it.
There are so many loose ends and things that need to be explained. Over 10 plus characters have yet to show their powers.
When Kubo actually gives the critics what they want, they fail to appreciate it, and what ends up happening is that they double down on their takes and refer to an excellent character driven story arc like the Fullbring arc as a filler arc.
I want to see Shinji's Bankai Bankai. Royal Guard members that we need to see their Bankai, especially the guy, I forgot his fucking name.
If you skip over the Fullbring arc, you'll be missing out on all of the pivotal growth that his character undergoes during the story arc.
No Bankai from Aizen, we haven't seen Love's Bankai. Most of the visors haven't really released any Bankai.
It grounded the entire story of Bleach, in order for us to be ready for the upcoming story arc. During the Fullbring arc, we catch up with characters like Orihime, Chad, and Uryu, as well as learning more about Ichigo's day-to-day life.
Kenpachi has a Bankai that ends up being Yachiru, which doesn't make any sense.
The Fullbring arc is an important prelude to the final arc of the series, as it bridges the gap from one portion of the story to the next.
Kubo, what the fuck are you doing? He wasted so much time and had too many characters that showed up. They were going to do something important, but they were never seen again.
It's a refreshing return to roots, as we take a break from the Soul Society and the Gote 13.
Most of these characters are not going to get developed. We're not going to see everything.
People just didn't like the Fullbring arc because things had really calmed down. We were no longer up against Aizen, this big threat who had wanted to become a god. From these incredibly high stakes, we return to the humble beginnings of the story in Karakura Town. And in addition to this, our protagonist is nothing more than a normal teenager.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit. I have been a fan of this show and manga for so many years, it just will fucking piss me off if I don't see about 95% of everybody's powers.
Yo, I'm so happy for Bleach right now. Bankai! Oh my, yo! The kid in me from like 10 years ago sprung back to life. Kurosaki Ichigo line, him saying Bankai. That line, chills, just straight chills, man. It's been so long. Hearing Bankai was definitely something I also needed to hear. Number 12 on trending. Bleach is trending in the top 15. That's legitimately freaking insane. Bankai! Regardless how many people want to meme on this series or put it down, etc., it was a part of the big three. And the fact that I'm seeing it on number 12 trending makes me so ecstatic. I am just so happy as a Bleach fan to see this. It's great. Bankai! This is just instantly some of the best thing to see. When you open up this video and you see it trending like this, that's incredible. Bankai! There is a lot of good stuff with this trailer, and I think that this is a good indication of just how much of a banger Bleach is going to be. Bankai! There's been a lot of people that have been speculating that Bleach might be overshadowed by Chainsaw Man. Clearly, by looking at this trailer, that is not going to be the case. Bankai!
Felt like I was watching a theatrical movie. It was nothing short of spectacular. There is so much attention to detail here, and they really did an amazing job of bringing Karakura Town to life. Even during the scene where Ryunosuke is jumping from lamppost to lamppost, you get to see the skyline of Karakura Town behind him. It's this really dark, eerie atmosphere, and it's very foreboding, and it eventually leads to Ryunosuke coming across a hollow that ends up chasing him. Genuinely, this is already one of my favorite things that I love about the new Bleach anime. Look at how Ryunosuke being attacked by the hollows is depicted here, as the blood splatters into the air and the moonlight reflects off of the droplets of blood. It is visually stunning. Now, the 2022 remixed version of number 1 begins playing, and this happens after we see Ichigo for the first time, as he confronts the hollows. This is a moment that truly gives you goosebumps, and it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Each of the members of the Karakura Town gang are reintroduced with a stylish name card that pauses from the action, and this happens right after they either attack or defend themselves against the hollows. How long that we have waited to hear and see Ichigo again. His return in anime form felt like a triumphant celebration, hearing him say, "Let's settle this," as we see the Karakura Town gang going to face off against the menacing hollows. The following Getsuga Tensho after he activates his Bankai was mind-blowing. There's a lot of beautiful visual effects here following the attack, as we see this super impressive eruption of flames and the emergence of smoke clouds that are beautifully animated. I found it so wholesome to see Ichigo and the others interacting again here, as the voice actors don't miss a beat. An evil military power that is set to march and destroy the Soul Society during this final arc. When Sasakibe ends up being impaled by a Quincy javelin, it was so sudden and impactful. They don't hold back here, as they show a lot of blood pouring down from his body. We then get to see how incredible the flames of Yamamoto Zanpakuto look in this new anime, as he activates his Zanpakuto and attacks the Sternritters just before they leave. The Sternritter escapes into the shadows, which again are depicted really well in the anime. There is so much to compliment and praise this first episode of the 1000 Year Blood War arc anime. We know that the series has started on a strong note, and I look forward to seeing future episodes.
I am going to analyze what Bleach fanboys are propagating in this single paragraph of a review.
You simply be wrong and negative towards a manga, an author that quite literally doesn't deserve those slanderous claims.
Number 1, he starts by calling anyone who doesn't like Bleach as people who can't appreciate it even at its best and just nitpick for the heck of it, implying the show is fine and its worst aspects are tiny, something which is a lie.
The people who do analyze Bleach and who do understand the themes, the symbolisms, and all of the deeper, more nuanced things to the series tend to like it.
Number 2, when people complain about nothing much is happening, he replies there is a war going on, so there is definitely something happening. The complaint is about nothing of importance is happening, not nothing in general, which is true. Bleach is a shallow show where nothing matters besides shallow dudes swinging transforming swords. Even the so-called war is not really a war. It comes down to thousands of nobodies getting wiped out by the bankais of a few individuals who then have isolated duels. What kind of a war comes down to a dozen people having duels? A real war is about armies clashing and field tactics, not about duels and transforming swords.
People that don't like Bleach or think that it's poorly written are talking out of their ass.
Number 3, he says people are being impatient with Bleach since it's only been like a few episodes and they demand for a lot more things to happen too soon. Yeah, the hundreds of episodes Bleach had so far do not matter. You have to pretend the first series had no plot or world building that continues to this one. You have to assume this new arc has new locations and new characters who were just introduced and need a lot of time to be developed. Even though there are no new locations, it's still Soul Society and Hueco Mundo, the captains and the Arrancaras you have been seeing for hundreds of episodes. As for the new characters, they have nothing worth exploring, since they are only defined by a superpower, and Kubo kills them 5 seconds after he names them. There is absolutely no reason to spend time on them.
Even if, for some reason, the nuance was too great for you, there are several instances of Kubo's brilliance becoming more blatant within his series, yet even then people decide to refuse to acknowledge him simply because it's Bleach.
Number 4, he says Bleach is a very deep show that doesn't spoon-feed the viewer. If you think nothing happens, it's because you are not smart enough to get it. You need a really high IQ to understand Bleach, because Kubo is all about show, don't tell. Although most of the things the characters say are things you can easily see instead of being told. But Kubo is lazy, so all we get is flapping mouths. If it's just about show, don't tell, why are we only told the citizens of Soul Society were killed? Why don't we see how Hallibel became the new ruler? And why do we need two incompetent Soul Reapers that are constantly asking questions they should already know the answers for, and which the audience already knows from the previous series?
Tite Kubo is not only not a bad writer, but an actually excellent one, and why Bleach has more depth than is typically credited to.
And number 5, he says Kubo takes his time to develop characters, foreshadowing, and world building. Characters he kills 5 seconds after he names them, foreshadowing nothing of importance, and showing the exact same locations we have been seeing for hundreds of episodes. That's what the fanboys say and believe about Bleach, despite the manga getting cancelled a decade ago, and everyone pointing out the exact same issues non-stop every year. But no, these are nitpicks, and if you don't like this masterpiece, you are impatient and stupid.
Bleach is just that good.
This is the oldest review on Mal about the new Bleach anime. Let me read it to you to see how the average anime fan feels about it. Bleach is back, baby! As a Bleach fan, I cannot express how happy I feel with Bleach being back with its full glory. Nostalgia. He says nothing more but nostalgia. And he keeps going the same way about, oh, I was waiting so long, and it's finally back. Have faith, it will be eventually back, only 10 years passed since then. And he just has to end it with, just hearing Bankai again made me cry. I wanna hear some Dan Bankais, goddammit. And then he moves to the story, which he skips entirely because he doesn't want to spoil anything, which is an indirect way of saying the story is shit and I have nothing to say about it. Plus, nobody watches it for the story. They just want to see the Bankais. Come on, let's stop kidding ourselves. So let's skip the plot and move to the other things, because who gives a shit about the plot? It's because I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah, right. The final arc animation is like a love letter to the fans. Because this anime is made only for the fans, it's not made for like attracting more people, in case they can squeeze more money out of the manga and get greenlit for yet another pointless continuation. No, the anime is made just for the fans. It's not made to sell merchandise and to increase the audience, which is like 95% moved to other shows by now. It's made for the fans. The voice actors are amazing. The music is amazing. Pretty colors and nice sounds. This is the only thing you care about, because without those, the bankais don't look very nice. Rating 10 out of 10. Pick fiction. This is what your average anime fan thinks about Bleach. Okay, let's check the next one. This has been a long time coming. This long-awaited arc that so many fans have craved for and wanted for so long. Ooh, nostalgia. You don't care if it's good, you just get more of it. You've seen the comments. Mixed bag. You've seen the ratings, not to be trusted. You've seen the hype, already dies. And the lore, the what? The faithful adoption of its story and its context. Yeah, down to a T. They didn't even bother to fix the damn info dumps. Fans who have long awaited this will be happy about it. Yes, all 300 of them, because everybody else moved on. Even now it's standing above so many other shows, and beneath many others. You'll be very pleased to know it's been continuing right. Can't wait to see the ending and its faithful adaptation. Bleach has finally made its great return to the mainstream. Many said it was impossible to happen. Mostly stupid haters, just for the sake of it. But here we are with the most important release of the year, whether you like it or not. Yeah, it's not Chainsaw Man, it's this one. This is justice for all Bleach fans who had to endure with all the community's stupidity, most of which was caused by you. What a time to witness the anime industry. What a time. It's still a shed hole. Complete and utter brilliance, and will likely be one of the greatest shonen arcs you will ever have the pleasure of experiencing. No, even the biggest Bleach haters will find it hard to provide any meaningful or substantial criticism to this new season of Bleach, as any issues that people had prior with the anime prequel have been rectified. Yeah, pacing and filler, because there is no such thing as long info dumps that are not needed. Huge recaps of the previous episode, scenes that we can easily see but we are instead told about. Sure, all the issues have been fixed. So let's go over this new amazing review I found about Bleach, which is not really a review, but coping hard about the show losing steam in just a couple of episodes. Let's go over his excuses. I know a lot of people hate on Bleach because it's popular. Wow! The number one excuse everyone is using to attack anyone who disagrees. What a better way to make anyone understand your point of view by attacking them right from the get-go. A lot of people are already complaining even though we only have 4 episodes up until now. Yes, only 4 episodes! The previous 200 don't count, we only have 4 episodes so far, and it's as if 4 episodes are not enough for most people to start shitting on a show, when most follow the rule of 3 episodes. People are saying it's too fast-paced. It's not. A lot of shonen now and in the past just adapt stories way too slow. If it was paced slower, it would be boring, like what happened in the original anime. So he's basically saying the original Bleach was bad, yet he's a fan of the original Bleach. How does that work? Hope he suddenly reveals a new ability, and to some that might feel like an ass-pull. But that's what makes the fights in any shonen interesting. New techniques and enemies. A poor excuse to allow ass-pulls. Because that's exactly what it is. When there is no build-up to something, it's an ass-pull, it's not well written, and he calls it interesting. What happened to the deep themes, huh? People find the characters boring, but they are not. They all add to the story in their own way, whether that by being useful in a fight, or adding comedy to the story, or adding humanity to it. That is not story, that is just extra content. Call it anime original if you want. If you can take them out and the plot doesn't change, it's not part of the story. Most of them don't even matter, they're just there to release more bankais or some shit. Take them out, you won't even notice the difference, so no, they're not there to make the story better, because the story is that barren. People are saying this is just a cash grab. The anime was always supposed to come back. Sure. 10 years ago when the anime got discontinued, everybody said, don't worry guys, we'll be back right away. It was surely gonna come back, and you just had to wait 10 years without any actual info for when it exactly comes out. Plus, most people think that Bleach got cancelled because of low ratings. What financial gain would you have by reviving a dead series unless it's not actually dead? I don't know, what financial gain was there in the continuation of Inuyasha? Did they expect to make that much money out of it? Yet they made it. A lot of shows get remakes or continuations, not because they're gonna make money, it's just because some committee paid a lot of money to be made. So no, this is not an actual excuse. People are saying Bleach is a boring series, but it's part of the big three for a reason. People liked it back then, it became popular for a reason. People enjoy it right now for a reason. It's entertaining. It's junk food. People love junk food and they liked it, there's nothing else to say. And then he goes on saying that none of the popular shonen are deep. They're just here to entertain and are doing a great job at that. I love all these series and out of all of them I like Bleach the most. Okay, that's actually true. Shonen are not deep shows, but he didn't exactly explain why he likes Bleach the most out of them, since all of them have story and characters and are entertaining. Anyone can say that for any show. So this review as a whole is a big failure, because it's not a review, it's a coping mechanism. He didn't explain a single thing about the show, it's just him coping hard, and he doesn't even explain why he likes it the most at the end. What does Bleach have that you can't find elsewhere? He didn't say anything, this is just nonsense, and once again it is proven why fanboys suck ass.
This is why the Serete and everybody is getting their asses handed to them. They came with the utmost strategy down to who has what ability in order to counter them, in order to take them down. Like, this is a strategic war, and again, I gotta give it to the Stern Ritter, dog. Like, look what's going on.
I found the most idiotic Bleach, air quotes, review! In case you don't know, a review about an ongoing series is about your impressions about the series thus far. It is not about the manga it is based on, and it's not about the 57th season which doesn't exist and which is supposed to be the point everyone will love the anime. Yet look at this moron, he made this air quotes review when there are 5 episodes out and all he talks about is the 6th episode that comes out in a week. Meaning he speaks about something that doesn't exist in the anime by assuming stuff that will happen in the manga. This is the definition of the favorite book meme. I haven't watched it, but it's my favorite. It's on the top of my list. I'm so happy for something that doesn't exist. Hold on to your chairs, maintain your blood pressure throughout the episode that doesn't exist, and hopefully finish it before dying from joy would be my advice. And I say that in a air quotes review. Also make sure to include a I really don't understand people who don't like what I like, so I will attack anyone who doesn't love terrible anime and make it impossible to understand my viewpoint. Because it's 2022 and I'm still a Bleachstard, so what did you expect from me, to be mature about it?
Your eyes do not deceive you. The title of this video and what you're seeing currently on the screen is 100% a possibility. Just what a day to be a Bleach fan.
The quality of reviews in a show define the quality of the people watching said show. Detailed, well-written and honest reviews like this one give a show prestige, since it's not only retards who are watching it. Unfortunately, it's the exception, since the level of analytical thought of an average Bleachtard is what you see here. Almost none of them review Bleach, they just attack anyone who doesn't like it. Like this one who says, anyone who doesn't like what I like has never watched a shonen in his life. Kubo is one of the greatest writers, which is why we still talk about him. If he wasn't one of the greatest, we wouldn't be talking about him a decade later, so there is your evidence. It's not like the worst writers are ever mentioned, we only talk about the greatest. And after he praises Kubo as the greatest, he proceeds to say Bleach is a typical shonen. So what did you expect? I don't know, something more from the greatest anime writer? How is he exactly the greatest when he's making a typical shonen? Are you even defending Bleach right now? Is anyone supposed to take you seriously when you attack people who don't like Bleach by calling it average? When you defend it as exactly that? And if you thought this was bad, check this Bleach fan who made an account just for shitting on another user who likes One Piece. And this is supposed to be a review by a fan of Bleach. This is what they are all doing, attacking people who like a different show more than Bleach. How about this Bleach fan, who doesn't even know what he's writing? Something about football versus basketball. That's why Bleach is so amazing, and because his review was only 30 words, he repeated it 3 times like a broken record. This is supposed to be a review. 2 lines of nonsense repeated over and over. And if you thought this was bad, check this Bleach fan. Bleach is anime of the year and anyone who disagrees is a brain-dead, retarded human being. And he repeats it 50 times. This is supposed to prove his point that Bleach is indeed the best anime and that we should take him and his fan base seriously. How can we do that? This is the only thing he and everyone else is doing. I've been called an anime hater for decades because my reviews are not praising everything I am watching, because that is supposed to be bad and only what an anime hater is supposed to be doing. But you see, when you don't like a show, you are allowed to be negative. The fans are supposed to be the positive ones, and look at them! What's so positive in their reviews? All they are doing is attacking others and making the very thing they like to come off as garbage nonsense watched by garbage people. So who exactly is behaving irrationally here, me or them? Once again it was proven why fandoms are trash, and you are better off not being a fan of anything because you will be associated with this kind of subhumans. Episode 8 exists to kill the tension of what has happened so far. Remember how easily people were dying all the time and the villains being super powerful? Well, you can forget that since nobody important is going to die ever again, including a captain who was clearly framed as 100% dead. Kubo gave him a sad scene where he mentions his last words, so he expects from you to think he's dead. Next episode, he survives, just because. The reason was because the captain was popular and Kubo got death threats if he dared to kill him. So he chickened out and threw in an asshole for why you don't die when your bankai gets stolen, your sword breaks, so does every bone in your body, you lose 10 gallons of blood, and you speak your part in words. This didn't make everyone happy though, since he got even more death threats by fans who didn't like his constant trolling. That captain was dead, Kubo had framed it like that, they were all convinced he was dead. So seeing him alive out of nowhere made them angry. They felt cheated, their emotions were all based on a lie. Kubo got what he deserved for changing what shouldn't have changed. But all that happened in the manga, since after a decade of waiting to see the finale adapted, they stopped giving a damn and just wanna see some damn bangais, goddammit.
The anime kind of just seamlessly went through. I don't see people going crazy, bugging out, screaming about inconsistencies when it comes to,
yo dog, Byakuya's still alive, what the hell, like.
I don't see people stressing out over that like they were with the manga, and I'm grateful because, dog, the fact that Kubo was getting death threats over this and in the anime it just kind of glosses over, they really don't care.
Kubo is a genius, and you need to read this manga because he's just that good at drawing butts. He's really good at butts.
Surface level. The most obvious of those qualities, I think, is the strength of Bleach's dialogue. Kubo's writing is well-balanced and fast-paced, like a great movie. Whether Ichigo's talking shit with his friends or shit-talking the guy he's about to throw down with, there's a ton of playful back and forth in every exchange. Surface level. One of the running themes in Bleach is that its duels are all conversations, wherein the characters learn more about each other and each other's points of view through the clashing of their blades. Surface level. Most of the supporting cast gets to fight, not just Ichigo and his friends, even if the vast majority of them go through the same "I showed you my release, now you show me yours" formula. Surface level.
Ichigo is a magical girl, plus Kubo can actually write women. Surface level. Kubo is simply one of the best and most versatile visual storytellers in the biz. And beyond that, his best pages, which are almost all of them from Soul Society onward, have a sublime mathematical beauty about them.
Surface level. Bleach is an incredibly deep series, rich in philosophical underpinnings and even richer in lore, with several of the best thought out magic systems in manga. I could easily go full Vati Vidya here detailing the series' greater cosmology. Surface level. Nobody in Bleach ever says anything purely for the sake of the audience. All pertinent lore information is conveyed through fully in-character conversations or through consistent commonalities in the artwork. Surface level. Bleach has a hugely versatile and expressive power system, wherein every major character has a truly unique ability that reflects some aspect of their personality and creates fun problems for their opponents to solve. Surface level. I fucking love Bleach for how rewarding it is to think about and pick apart. Its elegant balance of accessible action and cavernously deep subtext is about as close as it gets to the platonic ideal of show don't tell. Surface level. If people don't know what to look for or simply don't believe it's there at all due to negative preconceptions born from bad experiences with the show or its fans, they simply won't see it. Surface level. I'm Jeff Thu, professional anime lore fiend, assuring you that it is, in fact, that deep, bro.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
Oh my goodness, what an episode! What an episode of Bankai. This was so good. I've been waiting so long, man. Like, I could cry. I legit could cry tears of joy because of how long I've waited to see the Bankai. I love Urahana's, Bankai. The point is I really just love the development and characterization of Zaraki Kenpachi. Just some arbitrary power levels and scaling that doesn't make any sense, as I love this moment of getting to see the Bankai, and man, they did such a good job with depicting all this different type of Bankai. Oh, I love this. Like, you're very anxious at the edge of your seat to wondering who's gonna live, who's gonna die. Oh my goodness! What an episode!
Let's check the recent Bleach reviews. A lot of the comedy and the ecchi scenes have been removed, leading to the anime feeling rushed. Some people might say it's a war arc, so the comedy and the ecchi may seem out of place and take away the seriousness of the arc's events. But that's bullshit. Just because a war is going on doesn't mean people automatically lose their personality. Yeah, sure, man, if your characters are nothing besides comedy and ecchi scenes, sure, they shouldn't lose their personality. This guy who is a Bleach fan admits the characters are nothing but this shit. I am convinced that 80% of the negative reviews are salty FMA fans. If people deem this a bad shonen, I think you should quit it altogether. Yet another guy who says if you don't like it, then get the fuck out. Better fast than nothing, which is what we got in the last 10 years. 10 out of 10. Wow, what a great justification. It's better than nothing. Perfect score. I am seeing a lot of hate and many who didn't review it as it is. Many love other animes and they hated Bleach because of it having a higher rank. 10 out of 10. Wow, another great justification. You hate it because it has a higher rank. So I'm just gonna give it a 10 out of 10, okay? A lot of people considered Bleach to be the weakest of the big three, and I beg to differ. I've been watching the big three since I was still in primary school, and Bleach is really the top for me. Second is Naruto, and the last is DBZ. DBZ! What happened to One Piece? I am sad that a lot of fans of Bleach will never see this masterpiece because they're not here anymore. Because they moved on, it's been a decade, duh!
So the first thing that people always talk about, that I always hear, is that Ichigo is a mid-MC. Ichigo is boring as f***. Ichigo doesn't have a real goal or motivation. Bro, this legit makes no sense because Ichigo out of the big three is the most relatable to, I assume, 99% of viewers who watch anime. Because you're telling me that Naruto, who wants to become Hokage, and Luffy, who wants to become the Pirate King, is more relatable than Ichigo? No, if we had to compare that to the real world, that's basically saying that Naruto and Luffy wants to become like the president of the United States or president of the world. None of us are gonna be like that, okay? Like, majority of us are not him. And I'm not shitting on Naruto or Luffy's goal whatsoever. His main goal is to just be able to save everyone, be able to save his loved ones, people he truly cares about. Like, how is that a boring goal? I understand why people like them as main characters because of their conviction to strive for such a big goal and being able to reach that goal. They probably just don't understand the true meaning behind Bleach and just kind of look at it at a surface level. I think Ichigo is an S tier anime MC. He is one of the GOATs, and I don't give a f what y'all say. Another common hate comment you'll hear the anime community regarding Bleach. All the arcs are the same. Mundo is a carbon copy of Soul Society. People are just looking at these arcs at the surface level. They don't understand the true meaning behind each of these arcs. In Soul Society, you focus on mainly the two different ideologies when it comes to the Soul Reapers and our main cast of characters. In Mundo, you realize that Ichigo has this deeper demon inside of him, the hollow side. And there's a lot of fear when it comes to Ichigo and his hollow side, and he battles this fear throughout the whole arc. And so that's the main kind of two difference that I saw in these two arcs, which I never understood why people say it's the same exact arc. I never got that. If they really looked at it in a deeper meaning, it's so much different. Now let's talk about the Fullbring arc as well, and I know this gets so much hate in the anime community because people just say it's pure shit. Ichigo has no powers. Ichigo's not him in this series, so it's just boring. People need to look past the surface level and try to get a deeper understanding of the arc. This is the arc where you see Ichigo being at his lowest point, not being able to save his loved ones, knowing that there are threats out there still, knowing that there are people targeting his friends and families, but he's not able to do anything because he has no powers. Like, how do people shit on this arc? I don't understand. And how are people saying Ichigo's a boring MC? This is literally an arc where he is battling through depression, battling through his inner self, saying, am I worthless now because I have no powers? Am I weak? How am I supposed to save everyone that I love if I can't even save myself? Insanity to me, where people, just because the action is not fully there or Ichigo's powers aren't as cool as it was during Mundo arc, and they literally just shit on this arc because of that reason.
Kubo likes to imbue his art with context to how the character is feeling past the surface level, making something like backgrounds his secondary focus. He's simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. He's even come right out and said in interviews that he draws very minimalistic backgrounds and settings to hone in on any given character's emotions. He is simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. The story of Bleach is not one that concerns itself with the world primarily. That is simply an afterthought in Kubo's mind. He is simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. One Piece and Naruto focus on artistically depicting their world a bit more than Bleach because the world matters more in their stories. But in Bleach, the characters are our world. They are what we are supposed to focus on, and the development of their souls are significantly more important than the development of the world that they live in. He's simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. What exactly putting more backgrounds into the story would accomplish for the narrative that Kubo is trying to tell? The only thing it would truly do is detract attention from the nuance of the characters in certain scenes. He's simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. When Ichigo transforms into the vast Lord in order to protect Orihime, I don't need to see the surrounding area. I know that we're in Mundo. In fact, I think adding a background would only take away from the focus that Kubo wants me to have on this form in just how monstrous it is. He's simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. I'm not thinking about backgrounds. I don't care about the environment. I care about the characters. He's simply not competent or creative enough to build a visually interesting world around him, so he doesn't. Kubo background haters.
The story of how Bleach went from a complete meme to a masterpiece in basically less than a year is one of the greatest stories in the anime community. Cause see, now it's popular to say you like Bleach. What happened? Why are Bleach fans still so upset, and how did Bleach make one of the greatest comebacks in all of anime and manga? Because the manga ended the way it did, and because the anime had been cut, according to all the so-called experts in the community, Bleach had fallen far from its previously high reputation. Now it was the laughingstock of Shonen Jump series. Now, for the next 7 years, people would meme on Bleach and its fans for being cancelled, and for apparently having one of the worst endings in manga. This goes on for 7 years until Studio Pierrot was finally going to adapt the 1,000-Year Blood War. Suddenly, people started talking about how much they liked Bleach and how excited they were for the anime. People went from hating on Bleach to talking about why it was one of the most underrated series. 7+ years of memes and hate basically vanished in less than 1 year. What changed? It's the same manga. It's the same anime. They have the exact same problems as before. So how did 7 years of hate just poof away in less than a year? Is the nostalgia. This time gap has put distance between fans and their issues with the story. Because of that, people have naturally forgotten all the times they got pissed off or disappointed, and in place of that have begun to remember all the cool moments like the Bankai and the fights and, well, the beach episode. This nostalgia is the most important factor, as it's the only logical explanation for why a series could go from complete hogwash to greatest of all time.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
This one says it was the best season of the year. In a crappy year with not much competition. Does it even matter when it can't even reach 3000 karma? Everyone's watching ReZero and dun dun dun. The season will reach its peak when someone uses his Bankai, which is the only thing Bleachtards are waiting for. Well, duh. Damn Bankais is the only thing they ever cared about, god damn it. The animation is on the same level as Demon Slayer and therefore it deserves an average of 9. Because anything that looks like Demon Slayer deserves a 9. No further justification needed. Bleach had the best comeback in history, so don't listen to the haters. And by comeback they just mean well-animated Bankais. Because it sure as hell is not well written. Don't listen to the haters who point out all the bullshit. Just look at those damn Bankais, goddammit! It's simply a masterpiece, simply a work of art. The only problem is that it makes me addicted to wanting more damn Bankais, goddammit! I can't see the problem people have with Bleach. Sure, the original had some questionable pacing, but that was still amazing. Yeah, pacing was its only problem, it had absolutely no other problems. This is without a doubt an absolute masterpiece! Look at those damn Bankais, goddammit! Watch it and don't be bothered by the overall score's decrease. Some salty whiners can't comprehend that their favorite anime are not as good as Bleach! Ah, what a classic thing every fanboy will say about any show he likes. Just the other day, Chibi said, "If you don't like One Piece, it's because you are jealous of it being much better than your favorite show." Can't wait for damn Bankais who haven't seen animated yet, and upcoming fights, goddammit. That's the only thing they care about. Studio Saru, you need to delay Dan 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 and push it to the next season. There is no way it's going to surpass what Bleach is bringing this season. And there you have it. Were you convinced why Bleach is the best show ever made? It has no problems, and admit you are haters because your favorite show is not as good? My early Bleach review video attracted a few apologists who didn't waste any time in making fools of themselves and proving how brain-rot the entire community is. This one says I should let people live. Well, I'm not killing them by showing to the world what they wrote. If they die by their own cringe, that is not my problem. Also, it's hypocritical to demand from you to leave them alone when they spend their time making fun of everyone who doesn't like their show. Remember what they said about anyone who isn't a Bleachtard? He's a hater who doesn't want to admit Bleach is better than their favorite show. This one says I shouldn't undermine other people so I can feel better. And yet they're the ones who are undermining the rest of us. Why do they demand from us to leave them alone when they are not leaving us alone by constantly making such statements? This one says I am not worthy of calling myself a reviewer when the video was not showing you my reviews. It was showing Bleachtards reviews, and typical of moronic defenses when somebody calls you what you are, you just reply, "No, you." Therefore, when you show shit reviews of fanboys, the fanboys will say you wrote those reviews and thus you are the shitty one. This one denies facts by calling Reddit, the world's largest forum with official weekly statistics, to be insignificant, while also admitting he is a Muslim who denies the facts I found in official Quranic forums about the bullshit he believes in. And just like the previous one did, he's not the one with a brain rot for thinking Islam is the religion of peace. I am the one with a brain rot for proving the undeniable truth. I can keep going on forever with these comments, but you get the point by now. None of them respect you, they spend their lives making fun of you, yet the moment you point out what they do, they demand respect and accuse you of doing what they are doing. And this is why you shouldn't be a fanboy of anything. CBR is back with another AI article, which, may I remind you, it was not made by stitching together random words. An AI can't write anything new, it only regurgitates what is already there. So when it makes an article about how Bleach breaks the mold, it's only repeating what a lot of actual Bleachtards constantly say about it. You know, the people who will call you a hater because you don't want to admit your favorite show is nowhere near as good as Bleach, and will then nag about harassment when you point out what they are doing. So what did the Bankai addicts say this time? How about Yuhabaha being the only villain in history who is pragmatic and the Quincy is the only faction that is efficient? They have fooled themselves to think he doesn't waste time and gets straight to the point, and his minions do exactly what needs to be done without ever sidetracking. The transforming sword junkies banged their heads on a wall enough times to now think the Quincy never shit-talk in the middle of a fight, like the previous villains did. They are death mutes who just swing their blades. So in case any of you tells them, are you crazy, they blabber mid-fight like pretty much everyone else, they are not going to believe you. They will call you a hater who doesn't want to admit that the constructive masterpiece they worship is better than your favorite show. Then they will demand from you to stop harassing them since they didn't say anything bad about you when they said you like a show that is clearly worse than theirs. And they will then return to calling Yuhabaha a subversion of shonen supervillains. Because he's selfless. He doesn't do it to rule the world, but to create a better world for his people. Thus, him hating the Soul King and having nothing but revenge in his mind for centuries is selfless. Also allowing your people to die by the thousands for absolutely no good reason, even letting them murder each other for fun, shows how much you care about them. Oh, and let's not forget how eating them whenever you feel like it to get stronger also proves how much you love your people. What a subversion! And just like that, Bleach became better than your pathetic favorite show. Because removing the shit-talking in the middle of the fight definitely does not destroy the rule of cool of a show everyone watches for posers with transforming swords constantly mocking their opponents and then releasing their damn Bankai, goddammit! What's that? They attack mid-fight as much as everyone else? You are a hater who doesn't want to admit it's a subversion! You are refusing to admit Yuhabaha is very pragmatic and doesn't reveal his plans like Aizen did. That's why he's a better character. What's that? He revealed his plans to invade Soul Society in the first episode and wasted his element of surprise, therefore he's not pragmatic? While Aizen kept his plans a secret until they were fulfilled? Stop harassing me, you hater! Go back to your pathetically inferior show. Let me boast about Yuhabaha. A villain so pragmatic and caring, he ended up sending all the Quincy to their completely needless deaths. You just don't get it, man. You just don't get how smart punk guys are. I know.
I got a few anime in my bag this season, but bar none, hands down, bottom line, Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War is clearing every single anime that is coming in its path without a shadow of a doubt. I stand on this wholeheartedly because episode 5 is another testament to just how awesome, how brilliant, how incredible, and how appropriate this anime feels.
That is not something you would see in a fucking shonen. It's for adults.
The writing in Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War is actually catered towards not only a younger demographic, but older people can appreciate it as well.
It's for adults.
Wow, this is actually meant for somebody that is actually a mature adult.
It's for adults.
Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War is just legitimately, I feel, really targeted towards people that want a little bit more of a mature experience.
It's for adults.
You can deliver a shonen battle experience and not have it feel like it's made for just kids. Like, this doesn't feel like it's made for kids at all, to be honest with you.
It's for adults.
Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War is no joke at all. That whenever we even get a moment of a joke or a smile or anything like that, it is very much so welcome. Like, come on, things have been way too serious. We need a joke from time to time, and having Kon after all this time, that was great. I love that moment as well. It felt nostalgic, it felt awesome, and it was just like breath of fresh air.
It's for adults.
And overall, Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War, you can't mess with it right now. It's just that damn good.
I want to see some damn Bankais, goddammit.
Oh man, how many subversions can fit in every anime there is? Every day I keep finding videos about everything subverting everything else. Thus everything is subversion and therefore there is nothing special about them. Why is everyone glazing something that is not special at all? The recent example I found is this guy glazing Bleach for breaking the stereotype of the villain redemption arc. Do you know how he did that? By not making Aizen a good guy after a Soul Society. That is the subversion. All of a sudden, if you have a villain who doesn't become a good guy when the next villain appears, it counts as subversion! That's right, recurring villains, something that is a staple in every show since forever, is now breaking the mold for doing something every show was doing since the inception of sequels. How the shit does that even work? But wait, there is more! There is a second subversion mentioned in the same video. Not only Aizen did not become a good guy when Yuha became the next major villain, he was also not ridiculed by him. Aizen was not nerfed and turned into a crybaby just for glazing the next villain. He remained a badass who even ridiculed Yuha at points. And I actually agree with this part. Seeing a previous villain ridiculing the current villain is indeed very rare and in many ways a subversion. But it's not a good subversion, so why is this idiot glazing it as something great? He's openly admitting the peak of Bleach was the Soul Society arc because of Aizen. The 1000-year Blood War is inferior since Yuha had his thunder stolen by Aizen. The same reason the Granola arc in Dragon Ball is inferior, because Gas, the main villain, got ridiculed by Frisia, a former villain who also did not become a good guy. What about this subversion is good and why would anyone glaze it when it makes a show worse? Because now you are hyped about Aizen or Frisia once again? You are made to not care about anything that doesn't involve them. Same with Sukuna in Jujutsu Kaisen or the Joker in Batman. But then again, we are talking about Bleachtards, who have convinced themselves they are watching a well-written show about deep characters, instead of admitting they just wanna see some damn bankais, goddammit!
People say that Bleach lacks emotion like Naruto or One Piece, but this is because Bleach is a more mature show and it's vastly different compared to its fellow brothers. The information is not spoon-fed easily to the viewers, and they often have to dig deeper to make connections and link areas of the plot. And the fact that Bleach is more mature than most shows gives non-readers the impression that it completely lacks emotion. Bleach has better world building than Naruto, because in Naruto, you know, you got all the Leaf Villages. That's honestly just about it. Let's see what Bleach has. They have the world of the living, they have the Soul Society, which is another realm, and then they also got Hueco Mundo. When you just think of the mere size and scale of these three realms, they're already much bigger than Naruto. Another misconception about Bleach is that it has lackluster side characters. And I really don't know how people can even think this, because if you love Naruto so much and you're gonna sit here and say that Bleach has lackluster side characters and you love Naruto, I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of a hypocrite you are, because Naruto probably has one of the worst side characters in anime, bro. I know that a lot of people may hate Orihime, but honestly, I'm an Orihime supporter, and for one main reason. She may not do a lot, but she does have an OP power. That means something, so she's not useless, and she's also not a dickhead. People all hated Sakura because she was just such an asshole, right? And Orihime is such a nice person, bro. So overall, I think this is why Bleach is probably the most misunderstood anime of all time. And I think it really just deserves so much more praise, and it does not deserve all the hate that it gets. The hate that it gets, it's purely just from people who, one, have not watched the show, or two, just hate on it because they want to spread the bias of Naruto and One Piece. You know, I love Naruto and One Piece, man, but sometimes their fans, they can just get a little too toxic, I'll say that. And the Bleach community, on the other hand, I don't think I've seen a single toxic Bleach community member.
In a moment of pure brilliance, a fanboy of Bleach proved why my criticism of his religion is wrong. His evidence was, I am unemployed and I make content out of people who are more popular than me. He meant popular, but he's too stupid to spend a few seconds on spell check. Let's analyze how well substantiated his claim is. Number 1, I am unemployed. How does that disprove what I do? It doesn't. The vast majority of content creators are unemployed, since if they had a proper job, they wouldn't be spending their free time doing YouTube videos. Making videos is taking up a lot of time and they don't pay well, unless you get sponsorships or you ask enough people to keep sending you money. Either way, being unemployed does not disprove a video, and thus this Bleachtards is basically marking almost every content creator. Number 2, I make content out of other people. How does that disprove what I do? It doesn't. The vast majority of content creators make content out of other people. What do you think any form of analysis, reviewing, commentary or criticism is all about? You making content out of other people. Thus what I do does not disprove anything, and this Bleachtards is basically marking almost every content creator. Number 3, I am aiming people who are more popular than me. How does that disprove what I do? It doesn't. Are you immune to the criticism of people who are less popular than you? Are you only allowed to talk about people who are less popular than you? By that definition, how can anyone ever become popular? The moment someone becomes popular, everyone will stop talking about him and he will instantly cease to be popular. Also, the vast majority of content creators make content out of anything that is popular or trendy. Making videos on unpopular things is not worth it. They don't gain traction because almost nobody cares about them, therefore you are wasting your time in making videos nobody cares about. Thus, making content out of popular things does not disprove what I did, and this Bleachtards is basically mocking almost every content creator. And number 4, if you so much wanna talk shit about me, at least have the decency to practice what you preach. This Bleachtards has no subs and mocks me, someone with 8,000 subs, for making content out of people with more subs. By his own logic, he shouldn't be criticizing me, because I am more popular than him. In addition to that, the video I clipped is from a channel with 1/10 of my subs, so again, by his own logic, I am not talking about someone more popular than me. I'm doing exactly what he says, and he still criticizes me, because he's a Bleachtards, and that's what Bleachtards do.
I don't think I've seen a single toxic Bleach community member.
Bruh, so I just uploaded like 4 Bleach videos. Hey, how about I take a break for a little, right? How about I talk about something different? I think there's one character in Naruto who everyone acts like they love, but deep down in your heart, you do not love him, bruh. So let's talk about what Neji's done. What is the last prominent thing that Neji's done? When he died, bro, I did not shed a tear. His death, it didn't mean anything to me, because by that point in the story, what has he really done? What has he done in Shippuden? And I'll tell you, he didn't do shit. Kishimoto somehow made his character even worse than what it already was in Shippuden. I honestly forgot Neji existed. And those people who were crying at his death, I don't know how. But yeah, that's honestly all I want to talk about Neji. I just don't know how anyone can think that he's not the biggest fraud in Naruto. Especially after everything that built up to him and just nothing delivered.
I don't think I've seen a single toxic Bleach community member.
Bleachtards proved once again why their cult is better than the other cults. They start by stating you shouldn't be using Bleach to strengthen your point because Bleach is unlike anything we've seen before. It's not a manga made in Japan so people can read it. It's a hologram made on Mars so birds can dance on it. And they totally do not use Bleach to strengthen their point by saying that, as I did. It's all evident by how nobody ever screams in it. In other shonen everyone is constantly yelling, but this is not happening in Bleach because everyone is serious all the time. Anyone who thinks otherwise either has never read Bleach or is too stupid to understand how deep it is. So if, for example, you show them this panel, one of hundreds of examples of characters yelling at each other, Bleachtards will refuse to call it emotion, because the characters never shout if they have emotions. This panel, for example, where Ichigo is angry and screams at Ishida is not an emotion. Everything is always explained through actions. Such as this panel, which is just a character standing still and info-dumping with words what is going on. See? Nothing but action! And this is why Bleach is unlike anything else out there, and why you should never be mentioning it to prove why it's unlike anything else out there, just like all Bleachtards do.
I don't think I've seen a single toxic Bleach community member.
They all have amazing power-ups, but it's just way better because it was meant to be special.
Here's another Bleachtards who is glazing his cult with the only way all Bleachtards do, by crapping all over the other shonen. He spreads the lie that bankais are the best power-up because they come from a realization in one's mind. No other shonen does that, because they are either a fruit you eat, a weapon you gain an ability from, or something you train to achieve. They don't mean anything for the character, unlike what happens in Bleach, which is all about realizing more things about yourself.
Devil fruits are just a generic power-up. They just give a generic ability to somebody.
If I break down power-ups into types, they look like this. The ones you get without any effort or something to deserve them. Think how most isekai begin and you get the idea. The ones you get by grinding, meaning by training for a period of time until you get rewarded for your efforts. And the ones that happen with a realization that unlocks them without needing objects or training that doesn't lead to some form of realization.
All the devil fruits are giving you an ability. Meanwhile, Bankai is narratively more meaningful. It's a direct connection to the user's identity and soul.
The Bleachtards will have you thinking that bankais are the only power-up in history of shonen that do that. Some come close, like the Jujutsu Kaisen ones, but only superficially. Only Bleach did it right, and that is why Bleachtards can make fun of Naruto and every other shonen since they are inferior.
Mastering hockey really isn't big of a deal, because everyone can have hockey. It's just up to the training and the people that teaches you it.
This is a complete lie. Bankais are not possible without having a transforming sword, and that sword does not appear out of nowhere. It has to be foraged and then given by this guy. If eating a devil fruit or using a scientific ninja tool is a cheap power-up, then so are bankais because you need a sword that someone has to first forage and give it to you.
They look into themselves to get the powers.
Furthermore, it's very easy to say there is realization in any power-up of any shonen. Devil fruits are not just powers you get by eating a fruit. Depending on how you use them, their abilities differ from one user to the next.
Every other anime has amazing power-ups, but Bleach just does something to me.
Same goes with jutsus. Depending on how you train or what limitations you have, one Sharingan user differs from another Sharingan user. And even then, you still need some sort of realization for the power-up to take effect after eating the fruit or training with jutsus. It's what One Piece fanboys will say about Bone when she became another Nika, or what Narutards will say about Naruto learning how to use a Sage mode.
Each Bankai is unique, and it reflects the wielder's personality.
Oh, but you see, Bleach is the only show where the ability reflects the personality of the user. The other shonen don't do that. Here is the dog ninja with a dog ability to fit his dog personality. And did you know dog is also in his name? Totally not the same thing.
Old DD Roger did the same thing with hockey only, but I like Aizen more, because he is the greatest villain to ever be written.
And before some Bleachtards will say it's because Kishimoto wrote the ability and then built the character around it, that's exactly what happens in Bleach, where everyone begins as a design with an ability that fits that design, and stops there, because that's all the depth 95% of characters get. And you know what, you don't even need an in-story explanation, you can just use a headcanon and it will be just the same. Such as Piccolo when he fused with Kami. He is a black man returning to Africa and becoming one with God. Do you know how much realization that requires?
My goal is for you to acknowledge it because I love it.
Therefore, Bleach does nothing better than any other shonen. It's more of the same shit. And Bleachtards are delusional cultists who can do nothing to defend their religion besides crapping all over Naruto and the other shonen.
I don't think I've seen a single toxic Bleach community member.
A couple of sources were promoting that there was this big quote-unquote Bleach anime announcement. A lot of people were really excited about that because it was pretty vague. And especially with Kubo tweeting it, that was a pretty big deal for some fans. So a lot of people had expectations. This could mean that we're gonna be getting a Bleach anime remake, or this could mean that we're gonna be getting this or that. Basically, they did a montage of like multiple Bleach anime opening like imagery. Where's the Bleach anime remake? Or even, you know, something along the lines of like a new trailer for the upcoming fourth core of the anime. Of course, the ever so elusive movie announcement that people would love to get. And I guess it didn't help that this image was tweeted by Kubo a few days back, basically promoting this announcement. And and alongside it was this image that it kind of teased as if potentially, if you look at that image in the corner that is being slightly covered, you will see that essentially it kind of looks like it could be hinting at reboot. It's not the announcement that we wanted. There is still a little bit of hope though, considering the fact that Anime Japan is going to be taking place in Japan starting tomorrow, which there could potentially be some announcements for Bleach over there. So potentially there could be some announcements there.